Hello friends, my name's Emile. Now, ask someone to name a couple of hot hatches and undoubtedly the Honda Civic Type-R will come up. The first Civic Type-R was launched in 1997 for the Japanese market, and it was clear this car wasn't your typical hot hatch. The Civic Type-R, or EK9, featured a stiffer chassis, a limited slip differential, and of course the legendary 1.6 naturally aspirated engine, which screamed up to 8,400 RPM and had a power output of 182 horsepower, giving it one of the highest specific outputs for a naturally aspirated engine at the time. The Civic EK9 has since become a legendary hot hatch, often heralded as one of the best. Since 1997, the Civic Type-R has gone through many iterations, although the headlines are usually the same: stiff chassis and high-revving naturally aspirated engines all round. However, for the newest Civic Type-R, Honda has gone for a different strategy, making the new model possibly the most important since the original EK9. So, what's so different about this new car then? Well, at first nothing much. It features the same stiff chassis and space-age differential technology you'd expect from a Type-R, as well as all the everyday usefulness you'd expect from a hot hatch, and the usual front-wheel drive setup, just like a standard Civic. However, then we get to the engine, where you'll be surprised to find a turbocharger, making this the first ever turbocharged Type-R car ever. And while the engine is 2 litres in capacity like in the previous generation Type-R, it's an all-new unit. While the turbo does limit the red line to 7,000 RPM, which is very low for a Type-R, it does come at the advantage of adding power, which we will get to later, and also giving the engine much more torque, something Hondas have often lacked, doubling torque from the previous generation. It isn't just the engine that's overhauled either, the entire car has undergone major re-engineering, from a reworking of the drivetrain to an all-new and bespoke suspension and steering setup. Moving away from the mechanicals and onto styling, and while many may find the Civic a little bit on the gearish side, I personally like my hot hatches to be a bit on the mad side, and I've got to say, I'm a huge fan of the looks. While you may think it's all just for show, Honda says it all serves a purpose. The splitters, diffusers, and that massive rear wing all serve to provide downforce, although certain vents and the advantages of those vents are questionable at best. Onto the interior, and in the spirit of this car's predecessors, it is very similar to that of a standard Civic. It's a very well laid out cabin with plenty of equipment including touchscreen infotainment and climate control. The Type-R gains lashings of red around the steering wheel and stitching, a custom gear knob, and most importantly big bucket seats that are both comfortable and supportive, as well as giving you the impression you're in something special. That isn't all either, with an F1 style shift prompt and Type-R buttons only helping this specialist factor. Visibility is good, the dashboard sits low, and the gauges are excellent. However, it is spoiled somewhat by a large A-pillar which can make seeing into corners tricky in the interior view. Overall, I find the interior a nice place to be, and on par with other cars in the class. One slight downside for back seat passengers, however, is while the Civic Type-R is a 5-door only for the first time, those bucket seats can be rather obtrusive, blocking the view of the back seat passengers. Boot space is great for the class, featuring the same practicality you'd expect from a normal Civic. It is one of the best sized and most accessible boots in the class. Well, there's the introduction to this Type-R complete. However, on the driving front, is the proof really in the pudding? Well, I'm pleased to announce the new Civic Type-R may very well be one of the best yet. Starting on the speed front, and you'll certainly be feeling the advantages of the turbocharger. With turbo on board, the new Type-R has a power output of 306 horsepower, over 100 more than the outgoing model, as well as 295 foot-pound of torque. The Civic is relatively light too. With front-wheel drive, the Civic is actually lighter than its all-wheel drive rivals, with the Civic coming in at just 3,047 pounds. This pays dividends in the launch and acceleration. The launch from a standstill is good, although not on the level of all-wheel drive rivals, with notable wheel spin occurring in first gear. However, once you are up to second gear, you'll find the Civic offers great acceleration, with the benchmark reckoning 5.5 seconds to 60 miles per hour. And in my personal tests, I found this to be very accurate. Overall top speed is a claimed 176 miles per hour, and while it will get up to about 170 given a long enough straight, it does struggle after around 150 miles per hour. However, the Civic is very quick at getting to around 120, and in terms of on-the-move acceleration and overall top speed, this is one of the best cars in its class. Onto the corners, and on paper, a 306 horsepower front-wheel drive car sounds like a death trap. Asking the front wheels to handle that much power along with handling the steering is a tall task. However, thanks to clever electronics and the state-of-the-art differential system, the Civic gets away with it. In fact, this is one of the best handling front-wheel drive cars on the market. Firstly, the Civic enjoys the best turning characteristics in the class, with snappy reactive steering, and once you're in the corner, it only gets better. With great amounts of grip and traction, this can really hold on. Although on-power understeer does exist, it is only minor to moderate, and as long as you manage not to press your luck too much, you'll find the Civic to be a very competent car in the corners. The brakes are also of particular note, as they offer excellent stopping power and definitely are some of the best in class. Overall, I find the Civic to be one of the best all-round hot hatches, and as an all-round package, nothing with front-wheel drive matches it. Although all-wheel drive rivals may be a little safer and can launch quicker, I actually find the Civic to be more fun, and in some cases, better handling than them. Granted, as an overall package, the Focus RS may very well still be the king. It offers better launch and perhaps safer handling, but for me, I'd take the Civic over the Focus. I find the Civic to be a more characterful and likeable car. In a world where all-wheel drive is starting to become the norm for hot hatches more and more, it's nice to see at least some manufacturers are clinging on to the classic front drive platform. The final point we have to bring up today is the price, with the Type-R coming in at just 38,000 credits. It is 5,000 credits cheaper than the Focus RS and 27,000 credits cheaper than the A45 AMG, making it excellent value, only adding to the Civic's appeal, and again only helping it as a viable alternative to the all-wheel drive counterparts. At that price, it's hard to find an excuse not to at least try the Civic. I recommend you do, as it may very well surprise you. Anyways friends, that is it for this review. Thank you all very much for watching. Tell me down below in the comment section which one you'd take out, the new Honda Civic Type-R, the Ford Focus RS, and the Mercedes-Benz A45 AMG. I'm interested to see your responses. With that all being said and done friends, thank you all very much for watching. Mine has been the real Emile, and until next time, a farewell.